Hey, welcome back. Or if this is your first time here, I'm really glad you're joining us. Today we're talking about something a lot of you have been asking about in the comments, and honestly, I've been keeping a close eye on it myself. The latest on the DOGE Dividend Check, also referred to as the DOGE Stimulus Check. If you've been following this from the beginning, you probably remember the early talk about a possible $5,000 check. Then it dropped to $2,500. Now, things have changed again, and not in the way many hoped. But here's what's important. This topic isn't just about one check or one rumor. It's part of a bigger conversation about trust, transparency, and how government decisions affect real people. So whether you're trying to catch up or you've watched every update so far, I'm going to break this down clearly so you walk away with the full picture. And if you want to stay informed on what's real, what's not, and how this could affect your finances, be sure to subscribe. That way, you'll always have a place to get honest updates without the noise. So, let's start with where we are now. When Elon Musk was appointed to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, the idea was bold. Cut $2 trillion in spending and give part of those savings back to Americans. That's where the DOGE dividend came from. At first, it wasn't even a formal policy, just an idea that gained traction on social media. But what if that caught fire? And it caught fire fast. The math floated around said that if the government saved $2 trillion, then 20%, or $400 billion, could be split among taxpayers. That worked out to about $5,000 per person. And it sounded exciting, especially during a time when so many people are feeling squeezed by rising prices, high rents, and shrinking savings. But now, we have more information. And what it shows is that this plan, in its current form, is on pretty shaky ground. You see, Musk originally promised $2 trillion in savings. That number was later walked back to $1 trillion. And as of April 2025, the most recent official number is just $150 billion in projected savings. That's less than 8% of the original promise. And even that new total is being questioned. So what happened? Well, part of the problem is how DOGE is calculating savings. Some of the numbers come from canceled contracts that were already set to end. Others are based on assumptions that never actually happened. Like one example where DOGE claimed it saved nearly $3 billion by shutting down a West Texas migrant shelter, except that shelter had been mostly empty for a year. The real savings? Closer to $27 million. And another example, DOGE said they saved $1.9 billion by ending an IRS contract. But that contract had already been terminated under the last administration. The money was never being spent in the first place. So, you see what's happening here? They're counting savings that weren't savings. And it's not just a couple of numbers. A lot of the reported cuts are like this. According to budget experts, over 60% of DOGE's listed savings don't have real documentation. No receipts, no backup, just optimistic estimates and some pretty creative math. And that leads to the next big issue. What does this mean for the check? When we did the last update, the possible payout per person was estimated to be around $142 based on the $115 billion in savings at that time. Now that number might be closer to $180 or $200, but that's still a far cry from $5,000 or even $2,500. And to be clear, there's still no actual bill in Congress that authorizes these payments, so that hasn't changed. And even if the savings were real, and even if the government wanted to send that money out, they can't, at least not without Congress stepping in and making it law. Now, I know some of you have asked, what about eligibility? Is this just for certain income levels? Would Social Security recipients be included? At first, there was speculation that only people earning over $40,000 would qualify. But that's no longer part of the plan. The current idea includes anyone who files a federal tax return. So that covers most working Americans, Social Security recipients, and even veterans. But it does exclude one group, undocumented immigrants. And that part has sparked a big debate. DOGE leadership has said pretty clearly that illegal immigrants are never going to get a DOGE dividend. That's their quote, not mine. Their argument is based on legal status. But critics point out that undocumented immigrants paid over $96 billion in taxes in 2022 alone. So for a lot of people, it feels like they're contributing but still being left out. And even beyond the eligibility question, there's the issue of what to do with any savings that are real. Some lawmakers think those savings should go straight to reducing the national debt, not into stimulus checks. Speaker Mike Johnson and others in Congress are saying, look, the deficit is already over $36 trillion. Handing out checks, even if it's from money we saved, doesn't solve the bigger problem. Senator Ron Johnson said it pretty bluntly. He posted online, the waste, fraud, and abuse DOGE is uncovering should be used to reduce spending so we can balance the budget. And, that's a sentiment a lot of people share, even if they wouldn't mind a check. Now, James Fishback, the CEO of Azoria and one of the main voices behind this proposal, argues that it's not an either-or situation. He says 80% of the DOGE savings would still go toward reducing the deficit. The other 20%, he believes, should go back to the people to help rebuild public trust in how taxes are spent. He says that right now, nearly 70% of Americans don't think their tax dollars are being used well. And maybe he's right. Maybe giving some of it back would help with that. But again, that only matters if the savings are real. And right now, that's very much in doubt. And what about timing? If a bill were introduced tomorrow, and let me just say, there is still no bill, that would just be the first step. It would have to go through committees, debates, amendments, and then votes. And even after that, the IRS would need time to process payments. So realistically, if this ever happens, the earliest we might see checks would be sometime in 2026. And that's the best case scenario. Now, I know that's probably frustrating to hear, especially if you've been following this from the start, hoping this could be some real help. And if you're new and just heard about it for the first time, maybe it sounded like something worth watching out for. But this is why it's important to stay grounded. Hope is good, but making plans around something that hasn't even been proposed in Congress, that's risky. So here's what I recommend. Keep your expectations low. Watch what happens with Congress. If a bill is introduced, I'll be the first to let you know. And in the meantime, focus on what's actually available right now. Programs like the Earned Income Tax Credit, Medicare savings programs, and local rent relief initiatives. These aren't always flashy, but they're real, and they can make a difference. And if you're feeling frustrated about how all this has been handled, you're not alone. A lot of people feel the same way. The idea of the DOGE dividend got big fast because it touched on something so many people want, to feel like the government sees them, hears them, and actually helps. But until we see action, not just talk, we have to rely on what we know. And right now, what we know is that this check isn't real yet. Just pausing for a moment to share something important with you. Medicare can be confusing, and we've spent a lot of time looking for a partner we could genuinely trust. We've partnered with Chapter, a service we feel confident recommending for clear, honest help with Medicare. Chapter connects you with a licensed advisor who takes the time to understand your needs, whether it's your doctors, your prescriptions, or just making sure your plan fits your lifestyle. They help you compare all the Medicare plans available in your area, and their goal is simple: maximize your savings and minimize the hassle. Most people who use Chapter save around $1,100 a year. It's completely free, and once you're set up, you'll also have access to their care advocate team. Real people who stick with you to help with claims, plan changes, or anything that comes up down the road. If you'd like to speak with someone today, call 615-639-1937 or visit askchapter.org/money by clicking the link in the comment section below. All right, let's keep going. So, I'd love to hear what you think. Do you believe the DOGE dividend is still possible? Should the money go back to taxpayers, or should it help reduce the debt? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I always read through them, and it's helpful to hear your perspective. And hey, if this breakdown helped clear things up, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got more updates coming on this and other stories that affect your money, your benefits, and your future. I'll see you in the next one.